that Jason's deck is already playing Lion's Eye Diamond, and Lion's Eye Diamond is a very powerful enabler for Painter Servant Grindstone because it allows you to just activate Grindstone. That 3 mana can be used just to activate Grindstone to kill your opponent that turn.
Yep.
So it fits very nicely into what he's already trying to do.
He has the potential to go turn 1 Grindstone, turn 2 Painter Servant, play Lion's Eye Diamond, activate, kill you.
Yeah.
That's something that the deck is capable of doing.
So, I believe we are about ready to go here.
Jason is going to start up with the City of Brass.
Turn one city, and
we're going to see a Cabal Therapy, and it's going to be interesting to see who he targets with this, actually.
Is he on 5 cards, or is he on 6 cards?
I'm not entirely sure if it's 5 or 6, but the cards that he leafed through his hand, I saw 2 Bridge from Belows. Okay.
So, a pretty good... I mean, it's obviously land heavy, but Scavenging Ooze, if he... yeah, Jason was on 5 cards. Scavenging Ooze, if left unchecked, can win the game on its own, especially if Bulkowski's hand just isn't very good.
Yeah, and he's got enough green sources of mana. He also has a Wasteland here. The Dredge deck, I know you have the deck list in front of you, typically 16 lands, so not a ton of lands that deck is going to work with.
4 Gemstone Mine, 4 Colosseum, 4 City of Brass, 2 Dackmore Salvage, which you would hope not to play, and 2 copies of Undiscovered Paradise.
Yeah. So Brian's going to send it over with the Mother of Runes, and that, you know, while not ideal and not great in this particular matchup, it is going to protect his Scavenging Ooze from something, given the opportunity. We'll see a Hardcast Narcomoeba. And taking 2 points to do it. Not a.
He's got to get that Scavenging Ooze out of his hand.
Okay, he's
slow
gonna
down there, Brian.
That. Yep.
And he's drawn another land since then, so
we need action.
That's another Wasteland.
It's not the worst draw in the world. Tag one of those. Keep him off activating Colosseum. But while he's doing this, he is also getting Jason closer to Threshold.
Yeah, and there's a Lion's Eye Diamond. Lion's Eye Diamond plays very well with Cephalid Colosseum.
Does. There's Noble Hierarch for Exalted. In for 2 with the Mother of Runes. You'll probably see a fetch land this turn, or just the Savannah. I figured he may want to finish deck by a card because he's floating out rather poorly here, but...
Let's see. Still waiting. Ideally, Bulkowski would rather... I think Bulkowski basically wants to play it slow and trick Brian into thinking he is safe and basically just going... Lion's Eye Diamond, dump my hand in 1 turn. Oh, there's a Faithless Looting.
That's rather good, yeah. 2.
So if there's a Dredger in here, with his Lion's Eye Diamond in the Cephalid Colosseum, I expect him to start getting the ball rolling this turn.
Absolutely. Especially if there's another land in his hand, too, because then he can play Lion's Eye Diamond, discard the rest of his cards, cast the flashback the Faithless Looting with the Dredgers, and then crack the Colosseum as well.
Yep.
So
looks like he's got a Salvage in there, so he has a Dredger. He especially can't afford to wait because Brian Moss's list has 3 copies of Scavenging Ooze on top of 4 Green Sun Zeniths. A lot of lists have, you know, 1 copy is standard in a lot of lists, some go up to 2. He has 3 along with 4 Zeniths, so Brian is drawing very live here because if he finds another Scavenging Ooze within like this turn or the next turn, it's possible that Bulkowski will basically just be locked.
Yep. There's a land that's an attack for 4. And the reason he didn't play the Lion's Eye Diamond that turn, very simply, is because he did not want it to get blown up by Qasali Pridemage. No reason to expose it.
Okay, so we're going to dredge.
1, 2. There's a Golgari Grave Troll. That's going to give him Threshold.
Okay, and I think this is the turn where you're going to start to see Jason start to make his move. The Grave Troll in the graveyard now represents a lot of action for his Colosseum and his Faithless Looting.
So he's going to activate Cephalid Colosseum first. You're first going to see a dredge of 6 cards.
Flamekin Zealot, Narcomoeba. No, this is a big dredge.
6. So we're going to bring a Narcomoeba into play. Flamekin Zealot is the most relevant of the cards. He's not going to be able to resolve that Swords to Plowshares until Cephalid Colosseum is actually done resolving. Narcomoeba doesn't actually come into play until Colosseum is done resolving as well. So he's actually never going to get priority to do that. 5, 6.
There's a Sun Titan. Yeah, all these Grave Trolls is just so... I mean, he's flipping over his whole graveyard, and he still has a Faithless Looting left over in a Lion's Eye Diamond.
Yep. 6. He's going to discard those 3 Grave Trolls more than likely. He could discard Bridge and 2 Grave Trolls. It's up to him, really.
Doesn't matter too much because you're probably Lion's Eye dominating the rest of your hand
so
away.
those are going to go to the graveyard regardless. Now Narcomoeba comes into play. The trigger resolves. He's going to flashback Cabal Therapy. He has the information now.
I would assume we are going to be naming Sword to Plowshares here.
Yes.
Yeah, so Narcomoeba triggers.
Correct.
And then it enters play, and
Correct.
Bulkowsi has priority again. So you
correct.
can't break it up with a plow.
So now what's going to happen, and I've played Dredge quite a bit, is Narcomoeba is using sack to Cabal Therapy. The bridge trigger goes on the stack. The bridge trigger resolves. Zombie comes into play. Cabal Therapy is still on the stack. So he's going to have the opportunity to kill the zombie token with a Sword of Paradise before Cabal Therapy resolves.
Yep. And he's only, I mean, his hands just land, so.
Yep.
But you're in the clear now to do your worst.
I don't love the ordering there with the Cabal Therapy. The only reason being is because he missed out on potentially another bridge trigger because he does have Lion's Eye Diamond plus Faithless Looting. So maybe he wanted to get more bridges in the graveyard first.
So from here, what do we do?
Just going to play Undiscovered Paradise, Lion's Eye Diamond.
Sacking it for, I would presume, 3 red.
Yep, discard Bridge from below and Dalkmore Salvage. You're going to see him reaching for Faithless Looting here. And we're going to see 2 more dredges, and it's going to be 2 dredge 6. So 12 more cards going in the bin, 1 at a time, of course.
2. And there, we need some 5, 6.
The problem here is that he cast one Narcomoeba earlier
1
on turn 2.
2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we're done for this turn?
Yeah, he's going to discard those 2 Golgari Grave Trolls. The problem here for Jason is he only has 2 Narcomoebas left in his deck. It takes 3 creatures to, flashback Dread Return because he had hardcast Narcomoeba on turn 2. So it's going to be difficult for him to actually amass a Dread Return because we've not seen any Ichorids hit his graveyard.
Yep.
And that's because you're not going to find any Ichorids in his deck list. He actually has Bloodghast for his particular deck, but we haven't seen any Bloodghast hit his graveyard either, even though he's dredged over half of his deck. And that's the reason he opted to play Undiscovered Paradise, is because it's a land that comes back to your hand so you can keep returning those Bloodghasts.
So I'd expect him to tap it for mana here, right? Yeah, okay,
Yep.
we're just going to do this. Get the Undiscovered Paradise back.
So your dredge 6.
2. Narcomoeba, Bloodghast.
5, 6.
All right.
Remember I was talking about 3 creatures?
Yep. I think this is going to do it, right?
Yeah. I don't know if this is going to end the game on the spot, but he does have at least 2 Bridge from Belows in the graveyard. We know that he has a Dread Return in the graveyard. This Undiscovered Paradise is going to return Bloodghast, and he has the option of reanimating either Sun Titan or Flamekin Zealot.
And getting a whole bunch of zombies in the meantime.
Correct, and he's going to be able to pay through Thalia with either one of his lands, so he's okay on that front as well.
You gotta think there's a better way to lay out your graveyard here in terms of making this process efficient.
It's rather difficult for the people who lay it all the way across. It's kind of inconvenient. It takes up your entire board, and it's just kind of there and in the way. What you do, if you play Dredge a lot, you get rather used to what cards are in your graveyard, and you get used to seeing them so often that you don't really have to thumb through your graveyard a lot. I know that it's not particularly pleasant for the people at home to see what's in his graveyard, but some players lay them out across, some players don't.
So we have a bunch of homies. What's Sun Titan gonna get back here?
Sun Titan trigger. It's gonna return. Looks like it's gonna be a land possibly, so that he can get Bloodghast back as well. Bloodghast. Okay.
Oh, this is ooh.
Cephalid Coliseum is very, very good there.
Does he know that? Does he have another copy of Dread Return?
I'm not positive he has another Dread Return in his graveyard, but he does have 2 copies of Dread Return in his.
Because ideally, you would like
deck.
to just go for the kill this turn, right?
Ideally, you would. The problem here is that if he activates Cephalid Coliseum, it's going to tap him out, so Dread Return isn't a possibility because of
sure,
Thalia.
yeah.
But with what Jason has amassed on the board at this point in time,
Probably just chill out for a second.
yeah, he's in absolutely no rush, and Mother Runes isn't actually going to get one of the guys through because he has a white creature in Sun Titan and black creatures.
And there's a concession, yeah.
Yeah, in the zombies, so he can't actually get through.
Yeah. Brian Moss flooded out pretty heavily there. He kept a hand leaning very heavily on Scavenging Ooze and just never got a chance to.
Yep.
We got a chance to play it.
And without enough pressure to really get Jason dead, you know, Jason did mulligan to 5, and as you said, the deck does mulligan rather well. His hand wasn't particularly good, but given enough time, it doesn't take much for Dredge to amass something to go off.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, that's it mulligans the most out of any deck in the Legacy. It also mulligans the best out of any deck in Legacy because you're not playing, you're not like playing Magic exactly.
Yeah. We do have a trivia question. I've got one right here, so we can give away. It looks to be 3 months of Star City Games Premium.
Yep.
Perfect. So, and as they cut back to us, we are going to be doing our traditional 3-month giveaway of Star City Games Premium. Hopefully this question isn't too difficult for you guys, but we did have a player in the top 8 have to concede to leave this evening and let's drive back to Arizona. And if you are able to name, should I do the deck of the player or the player? What do you think?
The player.
The player?
Yeah.
If you're able to name the player who had to concede, unfortunately, and leave for his drive back to Arizona, send that to hashtag SCG Premium, and you will win 3 months of premium. We will select a winner from that. So once again, the player who had to leave the top 8 and concede his quarterfinal match for his drive back to Arizona, if you are able to name that player, send it to hashtag SCG Premium, and you will win 3 months of premium. Read some of Patrick Sullivan's finest articles.
I mean,
well, you always do your finest work.
Right, yeah. Every article is tied for the best one I've ever read.
That's what I thought. So
right.
Yeah, they'll be getting their money's worth.
Sure. Okay.
Good. Looking back, and we're going to come back to the match shortly, but looking back at the sideboards really quickly, for those of you guys who just joined us, Crop Rotation and Bajuka Bog are definitely coming in here for Brian. Bajuka Bog is going to be able to be searched for not only with Crop Rotation, but Night of the Reliquary, if he's able to get it into play on time. 3 Fairy Macabres as well are going to be coming in for Brian.
And I would assume, given the amount of graveyard hate that Brian has access to, that we're going to be seeing the transformational sideboard. I'm curious to see exactly how all in he goes. He has 12, 15, 18 creatures and only 15 cards that he can bring in to transform. So I'm actually has to keep some amount of his dredge package in.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure how that works exactly, but I assume we're going to see it because the graveyard hate that Brian has is significant, and he doesn't have a ton of stuff to fight through Painter Servant Grindstone.
I mean, the graveyard hate that he has is rather significant. Fairy Macabre has never been especially good against dredge. Yes, it does take the first dredger that, the first either 1 or 2 dredgers that Jason is going to have, but dredge decks are typically able to power through that sort of thing. It's the Bajuka Bog type effects, the ones that take them all out in one shot, which are difficult to overcome, and he only has one of that type of effect, so it's possible that Jason feels as though he can power through the graveyard hate that Brian has.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is I believe we'll be seeing basically the transformational sideboard at its best. And that's the thing about Dredge, why this sort of sideboard play makes sense, is Dredge is pretty much, in my opinion, it's the best game 1 deck in the format. If you're only playing game 1s, it's Dredge and not even close, because you're playing a game that just no one has access to. It's the post-board games that become significantly more difficult. And this sideboard just takes away a lot of the common cards, reduces the impact significantly, a lot of the common cards you would see out of most of your opponent's sideboards.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Now, it's interesting, as you said, we don't really know what 15 cards he's going to board in and board out. What kind of makes his plan unique is that his dredge deck does have cards that actually draw cards up and find the combo.
Yes.
Careful Study, Faithless Looting, Breakthrough, that sort of thing. So those are kind of the effects that you would have in a normal Painter Servant deck that you're able to take advantage of here with Dredge.
Yeah.
So that's something that does work in his favor. You can expect to see a card like Bridge from Below be boarded out, I think.
Yeah, I would assume. If you don't have the density of, if you don't have the full density of Dredge effects and payoffs for it, if you have to shave some of that stuff out, I think Bridge becomes the worst card.
But what makes it really interesting, and this is something something that you can kind of educate viewers on, is typically what a lot of people do, and I'm definitely guilty of this, you may be as well, is when you sideboard, you pretty much have an idea of what you're going to board in and out, so you take those particular 6 or 7 cards in and out. For this plan to work effectively for Jason, he's going to have to shuffle all 15 cards in.
Yeah, because it's possible he doesn't even bring in the combo at all against some opponents. But you have to keep them honest, right? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for this plan to work, especially when Brian has the information that this exists, Jason has to sideboard all 15 cards in, shuffle his deck, and then decide what 15 cards he's going to board out so that Brian doesn't have a good idea of what he's going to be up to.
For sure, yeah. So, obviously the value of the plan goes down a little bit with full information, but I still feel like it has the potential to be very good here.
Sure, I don't disagree with you at all. I mean, if he goes on this plan, we're looking at 3 Qasali Pride Mages and 4 Green Sun Zeniths is really the only way to effectively break it up. I mean, Thalia is definitely good against this sort of plan. Thalia, truthfully, is good against both halves of his deck.
Yes.
It's going to be good no matter what. But I think that the way that Brian's going to have to sideboard, he's going to have to dilute his deck with some graveyard hate cards, and then that may be completely ignored by Jason.
Right. So, we shall see. We shall see.
We shall see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see. I mean, we're going to know right away from his opening hand, I would assume, which way he's leaning.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to get a little bit of both.
I saw at least one unmasked.
Yeah, there's an unmask.
That's a key from both ends. Mobile Hierarch is in play.
It's a salvage.
What is a Dogmore Savage? We're going to see
We're
an
going to
unmask.
unmask, and we're pitching Stinkweed in. So we have some amount of dredging still going on.
No, unmask, this is a card you're probably familiar with. Is this a discard or is this a remove from the game for the alternate cost?
RFG.
RFG, okay.
Oh.
That's a stinker.
That's a stinker. Gut Shot, Fairy Macabre, 3 lands. Do you think Gut Shot's just in there to break up bridges or something?
Yeah, I think that's what it would be there for, yeah.
Drew a plow.
Swords of
Yeah, and his hand, even if he got to keep the Fairy Macabre, his hand would have no action against the Painter Servant Grindstone combo.
Yeah, I mean he did just draw Swords of Plowshares, excuse me, which is actually relatively good against breaking up the combo. But his hand is just going to give Brian, as he draws another unmask and a Faithless Looting, it's just going to give Jason way too much time to get things set up. Discarding Bloodghast, discarding Unmask, passing.
Gonna break the fetch line because he's got pretty much all the mana he can use at this point.
Be interesting to see if Brian opts to use his Fairy Macabre on just the Bloodghast, assuming that there's a trigger next turn.
Oh no, that got tagged. That was what got selected with Unmask.
Okay, that's got selected. Okay, thank you. Sure about that? I see a Faithless Looting. I see it one in his hand.
See what? One what?
I see a Fairy Macabre in his hand. I see a black card. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what did he must have taken?
Guess
Oh, he took the Gut Shot. That's right.
Gut Shot. Okay. There's a Faithless Looting. He did play a land first, and he did not return Bloodghast.
Not sure why he wouldn't return the Bloodghast unless he was afraid about, like he didn't want to just get his guy plowed, like he's trying to set up some turn. But
sure. There's going to be 7 cards in the graveyard right now. And you're going to see Brian sacrifice end of turn to get a, most likely, Savannah out of his deck. No fear of Wasteland here whatsoever.
Yeah, this is a little awkward. Bulkowski's a little jammed up on colored mana because he needs to cast Enlightened Tutor and presumably will need to cast Enlightened Tutor at some point, and has Cephalid Coliseum and has Faithless Looting, so his colored mana is really taxed right now. And he's only got the 1 Gemstone line.
Yeah, and that Gemstone line, as you know, only has 3 counters on it, so you can't use it willy-nilly. Every activation is rather important.
Yeah.
Mother of Runes adding to what is a rather slow clock.
And he's still got that plow up. I mean, I see a Grindstone in his hand and a Lion's Eye Diamond.
Happy to just pass back.
So I'm not sure if he's going to Enlighten Tutor for the other part of the combo right now, or what's going on here. He's happy to wait because Brian's not really putting him under any pressure.
Wasteland's good here.
Wasteland is good.
I think I would have went after that Gemstone, but I mean, Brian has the information. It seems like he is. It seems like we know what he's up to. 2, 3. He did draw City of Brass. That'll help his colored mana issues.
Yeah. City of Brass is a big draw there.
if you're Brian right now, you're dying to draw either a Zenith or a Knight of Reliquary.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel. You just want to wasteland the heck out of him. I mean, I don't think Scavenging Ooze is bad here, of course, but I think the Knight of Reliquary is better, especially because of Pajuka Bog as well.
So another copy of... Yeah, I'm trying to see his hand here. We got Grindstone. Right,
Okay.
there it is. Another Mother of Runes. Yeah, Brian's draws have just been pretty anemic. I mean, he's drawn some sideboard cards. It's just sort of weirdly reactive, not super helpful. So I think are we gonna Enlighten Tutor here for the other part of the combo?
Yep. Now, what's interesting, Swords of Paradise, Swords of Plowshares, I keep calling it Swords of Paradise. Swords of Plowshares is going to be able to break this up. Painter Servant's going to go on top. He does have Painter Servant and LED in his hand. He can rather easily just play Painter Servant, play LED first, then play Painter Servant, and just sit.
Go.
Yeah, and just sit.
Oddly enough, Painter Servant holds off. It's a 1/3, right? It just holds off his whole team right now.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if he's going to go for it if he's happy to sit. I think you got to be happy to sit, right? Because you can. He's got another Grindstone in his hand. With one more mana, he can go over the top.
Yeah. Well, he can't activate it twice in one turn. It takes a tap to activate it.
All right. It looks like he's going to go for it.
Yeah. Activate this.
One assumes we're going to see a plow in response.
I would like to think so.
All right.
Okay, there's your plow. Sure.
That was actually RFG'd.
Yeah, that Painter Servant's going to be RFG'd. You guys can let them know that over there. 2.
What was the white card that just got flipped?
It looked like a promo Path to Exile.
Okay.
I would have been much more content just to sit there.
Yeah, I mean,
personally.
he can't attack you.
I mean,
you're not in any rush.
his
right?
attacks aren't particularly good because I mean, what Painter Servant does, it makes everything a certain color. So he's going to have to activate Mother of Runes to get his guy through. So
right.
he can get through for 2 points of damage, but it's not like he's under any significant pressure
Right.
to do anything in particular. Fairy Macabre. It's going to remove Bloodghast and Faithless Looting.
Okay.
A draw of Enlightened Tutor or Painter Servant is relatively good here, once again. He just passes back. That looks like a draw of Gut Shot number 2.
Another good shot.
City of Brass is Jason Strawstep. He passes back. Another Noble Hierarch is going to add another point to the clock.
Yep.
We'll have to see what he can draw. Umezawa's Jit is...
Sure.
Umezawa's Jit is actually very, very good that turn. It's going to put 2 counters on that, and then the third damage he needs to deal to Painter Servant will be provided by Gut Shot.
Yeah.
So it's actually one of the better draws, even though it looks very bad right now. And that's going to send it over to game 3.
Yeah, I think Bulkowsi could have waited. I mean, there was a couple turn window there that he didn't know about. There's another argument that, like, once you are on that plan, that you don't want to just fire off your own masks on turn 1.
Yes.
You want to be holding them for the time where you're actually going to be killing someone.
Yes.
Because, Jason was, on that turn where he had the whole combo set up, he was working with incomplete information about whether or not Brian had a plow.
Yep.
So, and the card he ended up getting off of his mask on the first turn was a really marginal card. He got a Gut Shot, which didn't matter for anything.
Yeah.
So if he waits, if he can sit a little more patiently on his unmask. Now maybe there's other cards he's worried about that he wants to knock out of his hand, but if he can afford to be a little more patient with his unmask, then he can just make sure the coast is clear, get the one relevant piece of disruption he has on that turn, and then just go off.
I think if I'm Jason, I go back to my original game plan. It just felt to me what he was doing that game was relatively erratic. Also, I mean, something as simple as a Swords to Plowshares, Path to Exile, or Qasali Pride Mage is very easily going to be able to break this up.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to be boarding out Qasali Pride Mage no matter what, because it's 2 mana 2/2 and has Exalted, so that's going to stay in the deck and be able to break up the combo at any point. He's already proven to me that he's going to leave Swords and board in Path, even though he already has one main deck. So, I mean, he has 5 copies of that sort of an effect. He also boarded in Gutshot, so I just don't think that is a way that's going to get him to win. When, obviously, it works so much better when they don't know that you have it, but because they have deck list, I think that, and Jason has shown that he's willing to board in this game, I would board it back out and just try to power through.
Yeah, another huge issue is that, at least in my mind, I think that the conventional Dredge plan, his game 1 setup, is much better on the play. Part of the reason that you would want to be in the Painter Servant plan on the draw is because Knight of the Reliquary into Bojuka Bog is something Brian probably has the time to set up on the play, but is way less likely to have time for on the draw.
Sure.
So, you know, the value of his Bojuka Bog goes way down when he's on the draw, and so your natural setup might be able to just win the game.
I mean, truthfully, I think that Dredge is the sort of deck that, yes, it is susceptible to hate cards, but of the hate cards that are available to play against Dredge, one of the easier ones to beat is Fairy Macabre.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you had to be definitely coupling it with pressure for it to be meaningful. Fairy Macabre is more of an in my opinion, more of an anti-reanimator card.
I agree, 100%.
It's better, you know, it hits a reanimation target in response, and it's uncounterable. And the reanimate deck is, you know, obviously playing Force of Wills and whatever else. So an uncounterable, targetable sorts of graveyard disruption is pretty much perfect.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, I'm in this. The way that I look at the situation is, you know, Dredge is a deck that goes off on turn 1 or turn 2. That's going to be before Knight of the Reliquary can actually get active and search for that Bojuka Bog. Excuse me, it goes off on turn 2 or turn 3 when you're on the play. So it's going to be ahead of Knight of the Reliquary searching for Bojuka Bog. If he draws as one of crop rotation for Bojuka Bog, good beats. It wasn't my game.
I'm willing to bet, based on the excited reaction from the Peanut Gallery I just overheard that Josh Watan and his Tribelter deck, yeah, and we just got confirmation here. Josh Watan and his Tribelter deck just won 2-0 over Andreas Johnson's Esper Stoneblade deck, so we can pencil in Josh, and he'll be playing against Vidi Vijaya in the semifinals momentarily.
Two friends.
Two friends, two frenemies.
Yeah.
Once friends, now frenemies.
That's right.
And we'll get an update on the Moreno Phallic Farsa match momentarily.
Absolutely. So we'll see what's going to happen here. I know that Jason went back to the sideboard. Not really sure which way he's going to lean. To me, once again, just harping on the point, you know, I think that the sideboard plan that he has is actually very, very good.
Yeah.
Like, if I were to go to a Grand Prix that is Legacy and bring that sideboard and just no one knows that it's coming, it seems insanely powerful at that point. But when someone has their deck list in front of me and they're like, oh, I see what's going on here, I can kind of hedge against everything now, it just seems a little bit less powerful. And Dredge is more than powerful enough to power through hate.
Right, especially like it's not Leyline of the Void. It's not, it's not Grafdigger Stage. It's not the horrible stuff. It's just reasonable anti-graveyard cards.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very clear that Brian, when building his deck, was more concerned with Reanimator, which is why he's playing Fairy Macabre, than people playing Dredge. And with that in mind, as a Dredge player, you should be able to power through that hate if you're proficient enough with your deck.
Yep. So our other Dredge player, Joseph Moreno, is apparently up a game on Gallon, Phallic Farsa, and his Rogue Delver deck.
Mulligan.
Yep. Can't act too surprised, Jason. That's what your deck does.
Yeah, that's part of what you sign up for when you choose to play Dredge. Another interesting point that I will bring up is we know that this deck mulligans a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Just because of how many lands it plays, what it's trying to accomplish. It does mulligan well. I'm willing to bet that it does not mulligan very well when it is in its sideboarded plan.
Oh, no. Definitely has to get worse, right?
Yes. Every mulligan you take with that is ugh.
Especially since you have a lot of 2-for-1s against yourself in Enlightened Tutor and Unmask.
Yeah.
Definitely can compound the problem.
So it looks like it's at least a mulligan to 6. I'm not sure if it's a 6 or a 5, but we're at the very least going to 6.
And I really hope that if the finals of this tournament is Dredge versus Char Belcher, that Richard Garfield isn't watching. I would not want him to know what was going on with his beautiful game.
Yeah, not magic versus not magic. This is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful home.
Yeah. It's, where are their lands and their spells?
Yeah, what are they doing?
No,
are there any creatures? Are they attacking?
No.
I'm very confused.
All right. At least after a lot of contemplation, that Brian Moss also took a mulligan there.
Deep in the tank.
No, Jason Bulkowsi and Joe Lossett play a lot together.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is probably a more familiar face for you.
Yeah. Jason, I know. All right, Dredge 1-2-0. So we got.
That second game was quick.
All right, so we can pencil in Dredge here, waiting for the winner of this semifinal match. I think that we'll do, if Jason is able to win this game, I think we'll do everyone a service and push off the Dredge mirror away from the camera. I think we'll probably have Josh and VD play. I would assume.
Belcher v Stoneblade.
Yeah, feels like a good matchup for Belcher. I was talking about this the other day.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. The Stoneblade deck just has a lot of trash in it.
I
mean, obviously, among the Force of Will decks, I think it is one of the easier Force of Will decks for Char Belcher to beat.
Sure, most of what that deck is doing is irrelevant.
Yes.
Especially what Char Belcher is looking to accomplish. I mean, it depends on how many engineer explosives that are in VD's deck list and that sort of thing. But yeah, if it's basically you get to the point if it's Force of Will or no.
He's got two explosives, 4 Force of Wills,
2 spell pierces, 1 counterspell. Counterspell's too slow. That's pretty much it. In his sideboard, he has stuff that isn't highly relevant: a blue elemental bast, 2 spell snares, which are actually okay, 2 inquisitions, which are okay. But I mean, Inquisition takes all of your redundant cards, which are all the rituals. You can take Burning Wish as well, but it doesn't take Empty the Warrens or Goblin Char Belcher, which are your most important cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Of all the decks that you can play against, that is leaning heavily on Force of Will. This one does just the most. Who cares?
Yeah.
Of anything.
The most garbage.
Yeah. The sad thing.
Josh just, it looked like Josh just sawed through some Esper Stoneblade deck 2 seconds ago.
Some poor chap with his Batter Skulls and his Stoneforge Mystics. The player said they are testing our ability to fill dead airspace. Oh, challenge accepted. I can talk about myself all day.
Yeah, that's not even hard.
Yeah. I'm great looking, I'm in shape, and I'm single. We can talk about anything about me if you want. I don't care.
We could just treat this as an extension of your OkCupid profile.
We sure can.
That is not hard for us to do at all.
I like music. I like the sports. Long walks on the beach.
Yep.
Cooking. Hamburgers. Hot dogs.
Do you actually like to cook?
I love cooking.
Okay.
Absolutely. I like Top Chef. You guys just tell me when you want me to stop. I like Top Chef. I like the Mets. I like the Brooklyn Nets. I like the New York Jets.
All right, so are both players on 5 cards?
I mean, we got some mulligans. Ooh, more dead air. Patrick, what do you like?
What do I like?
What don't you like?
I have a pretty wide range of interests. Obviously, I'm very into game design, both applying it myself and sort of the philosophy behind it. I think it's still an industry and an artistic endeavor that's still in its early stages. Like what we are learning about game design, we are still in its infancy. So
sure.
It's creative space that's we're still discovering, which to me is really compelling. Obviously, I'm a huge NBA fan. Season ticket holder for the Los Angeles Clippers.
Sure.
And just a huge junkie for the sport in general.
Understood. You and I both.
I love New Jersey. I'm from there, and I miss it tremendously. If I could get a job back in New Jersey doing what I do in California, I'd be on the first flight to Newark.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. No one loves New Jersey.
That's not true.
Have you watched How I Met Your Mother?
Bruce Springsteen loves New Jersey. What's his name? Someone else really famous.
Another mulligan, down to 4 for Brian Moss. He just shrugs his shoulders. No big deal.
Yeah, whatever. It's the same thing.
We're accepting your challenge, Brian. It's no big deal.
Well, Bruce Springsteen. Oh, Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith is obviously a huge New Jersey fan.
Sure. He's nobody.
Really?
Yeah, he's nobody in my world.
What's your world?
You don't want to know.
Okay.
It's not fit. It's not fit for print.
Who are your favorite musical acts?
My favorite musical acts? Good God. Avril Lavigne, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera.
Sure.
Should I keep Maroon 5?
Okay.
Get a little nasty with Eminem. I can switch it up if you want. I can go into Kanye West, Jay-Z. I'm not above Kelly Clarkson. No one is, though.
No, that's
true. No one is.
I try to hate on her for a while, but it's just there's
everyone.
No point
Everyone tries. It's fine. She's gorgeous and she can sing. What more do you want in life? She can probably cook too. Bet she makes a mean dish of anything.
Yeah.
What don't I like? I love. Man, I'm deep.
Yeah.
I listen to the pop music, rap, rock. What's your favorite rap artist? Go.
Nas.
He has a new CD out.
Yeah, it's hot.
Is it good?
He's my favorite solo.
It's hot? What does that mean?
He's my favorite solo rapper. Wu-Tang Clan is my favorite rap group.
Blacker than me. Cephalocalcium number 2. Jason Bulkowski. And we've seen this before.
Oh yeah.
The Narcomoeba beatdowns.
Yep. So we have a combined 9 cards between our starting 2 hands. This is pathetic.
This is how Magic was meant to be played. Somebody call Garfield. You want to talk about Magic?
Right. Does he have an ooze? No, he has a Pride Mage.
Beatdowns. 3 is more than 1.
That is the math.
Graduated college.
Whoa! Representing a Dark Blast?
Can't stop, won't stop.
Just don't care. The Stone Cold don't cares.
Wait, what do you mean? It flies.
Oh, it flies.
Oh, come on.
I don't know. I've never seen anyone attack with the Narcomoeba before. I've only seen it sat to a Cabal therapy.
You haven't seen me go to work with Dredge. I'll teach you a thing or two.
Uh-oh, I think we're, oh boy.
Here we go, Faithless Looting.
All right, he's gonna...
Taste it.
Oh boy.
Fairy Macabre's actually pretty good there. That's kind
pretty
of insane. It's kind of unfortunate.
Bow, 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 bow.
I don't know. Is that the Price is Right song? It's like right below $1. Ooh, a nickel.
Yeah. Jason's in some trouble now.
Well, it's not good.
It's not
good.
Listen.
This is a cripple fight. We can have a little fun with this.
Yeah. Listen, if there's anything I love to watch, there's nothing in Magic I like watching more than Dredge just get humiliated. It is by far my favorite thing to watch in Magic. You deserve this for all you put your opponents through today. This is a fitting end.
For destroying them on turn 2 every game to make it here. Yeah, this is a fitting end. We see a Zenith for 2.
I think we're Ooze the boss. Ooze the man.
Who's your daddy? I'll show you who.
All right, good luck. Hello and good luck.
Do you know the other card in his hand? Because I do.
What is it?
It's a singleton. Take a guess.
Bazooka Bog.
Close. Very close. Searches for it.
Night of the Reliquary?
Crop rotation. Come on.
Okay.
I said it was a singleton. You think this guy's playing 1?
Maybe that's all he owns.
I have a deck list in front of me.
Yeah, it's not in front of me.
You win again. 8-0 Patrick on the weekend.
Just pitching a shutout.
So, right. all kidding aside, we have Brian fairly ahead in this game.
Yeah, this is getting...
Jason is struggling on Brian's Mold of Force simply because of Fairy Macabre, and he wasn't able to power through it. It was very well timed because he would have been able to do some rather disgusting things if that had resolved.
Yeah, definitely would have been able to get the ball rolling. But now there's no hope of getting to the threshold with the Cephalocalciums. He can't really get any sort of graveyard engine. Ooh, we can hard cast our Unmask. It's not the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not good.
It's not good. It's not good, but it's an option.
Yeah.
This Scavenging Ooze has 2 counters on it as well, so it's a 4/4.
Yep.
Pride Mage is a 2/2, and then Dried Arbor is a 1/1. So if the life totals are correct and Jason is at 7, then this game looks to be over.
Yeah.
I don't want to pronounce anyone dead because that's what doctors do, not people. But
all right. So Maverick.
You're penciling it
in the bracket. Yeah.
You've chastised me for doing that all weekend. All right,
Dude.
Narcomoeba, little trade. Gonna get eaten by old Scavenging Ooze momentarily.
Game is uglier than a Masterpiece sneaker.
That's probably true. That's, yeah. Oh, but wait. Bridge from below for the draw step. That changes everything.
I mean, if I were, if you had another black man, I would just cast it for Val.
Yeah, I've cast it before. I actually have.
And there it is. Congratulations to Brian Moss.
Winner 2-1 over Jason Bulkowski and Dredge on a Multi 4.
Yep. All it takes is a news.
Yeah, Ooze your daddy?
Yeah,
I am.
Ooze in a clock. Ooze plus very macabre was enough to just let him beat him to death.
I thought he would be able to power through, and he almost did actually. Obviously, if he didn't have the macabre, actually.
Oh yeah, he would have been fine. He would have. I mean, he would have gotten to Faithless Looting and had Cephalid Coliseum. He would have gotten a lot of action going.
One of the cards he discarded was Stinkweed him, so he actually would have dredged 5.
Yeah.
And the other card is 6, and then if he gets another dredger, then he can activate Coliseum. He has another LED in play. He can actually just go stone crazy.
Right.
If like anything breaks his way like just a little bit.